Okay, welcome back. Now, in this video, I just want to quickly discuss the multiplier, the government spending multiplier. Now, just look at this table. Not very clear, and I'm really sorry about it. This table, the change in government spending. The government has increased its expenditure by 1,000. As I said, it is a direct contribution in the GDP. It's a direct contribution in the economy. And please do remember that the government spending multiplier will always be more than the tax multiplier. Why? Because government spending is a direct contribution to the GDP, whereas tax is not. Now, please look at the first column where government spending increases by 1,000. What happens when this goes into the economy? The first person is going to get 1,000, but then he's going to further spend it on based on his marginal propensity to consume. Now, let's say the marginal propensity to consume is zero point 0.6, so he's going to spend 600 out of that 1,000. The other person gets 600. He also has a marginal propensity to consume of zero point 0.6. He spends 360 and then 216. So the net increase that happens in the national income by the government spending $1,000 is not 1,000, it's actually 2,500. Okay, look at the change in consumption. The change in consumption that happens is when you get 1,000, you spend zero point 0.6. So 600, the first person ends up consuming 600, second person 360, third person 216. So change in consumption happens by 1500 and saving happens 500. All right. So this is the idea of the multiplier. Multiplier simply means that when you spend 1,000 in the economy, the actual income increases not by 1,000 but by a lot more than 1,000, and this is depicted in this graph. If you look at the change in government spending, because of this change the aggregate expenditure rises parallel. It rises, the AE1 moves to AE2, and that is because of the multiplier. And initially your income was why not, the income increases by a bigger percentage and goes up to y1, and so do your savings. If you look at if you look at the if you look at the injections situation, because of the change in government, change in government expenditure, your injections also increase from line 1, which is I1 plus G1. I'm sorry, that's not very clear in the diagram, but the lower line is I1 plus G1 and the upper line is I2 plus G2. Your injections also go up, and because of those injections your income goes up and your savings also rise. So both consumption and saving, now that is the important thing, that both consumption and savings go up as a result of the increase in the expenditure. Quickly, I want to discuss with you the balance budget multiplier. Okay, as I already told you that the tax multiplier is going to be less than it's going to be less than the government spending multiplier. But now we are now going to look at the balanced budget multiplier. What is the balanced budget? The balanced budget, please recall the balanced budget, or I'll just show you the picture of the balanced budget again. So the balanced budget is the situation where the government revenue completely equals the government spending, government expenditure. So whatever the government is earning, it is spending. So the budget is in balance. Now, we are now going to look at the multiplier of the balanced budget. Now, please do keep in mind, we start with, I'll go in detail, but what does this multiplier measure? The multiplier says that in order to balance the budget, revenue of the government must equal the expenditure of the government, which means that increase in government expenditure must be matched by increase in tax. So whatever the government is getting in tax, it is spending in government expenditure. So if it is charging 100 million tax, then it's spending 100 million in government expenditures. This is the idea behind this multiplier. Okay, this is the theory behind this multiplier. So let's now look at what happens. What does the government expenditure multiplier look like, and what does the tax multiplier look like? Because what are we saying? That in this multiplier there are two elements. The two elements are government expenditure and tax, which should equal one another. Okay, so now let's look at the formula. The formula is going to be change in income, change in the national income divided by change in government expenditure must equal is equal to 1 upon 1 minus MPC, because the multiplier is always determined by the MPC. So this is the formula that you will keep in mind. Change in income, write the whole formula. Don't write multiplier equal to, no. That for the calculation it is important that you write both. That's how you will understand it. So change in income divided by change in government spending is equal to 1 upon 1 minus MPC, which is basically the government expenditure multiplier. Okay. The other element that you have to look into is change in income divided by change in tax. Okay, change in income divided by tax, because that is the other element. On one side you have to increase the tax by 100, on the other side you have to increase the government expenditure by 100, and we will see how that's going to match up. But please first write the equations properly. Change in income divided by change in tax is equal to negative MPC divided by 1 minus MPC, which is the tax multiplier. Okay, if you have these two formulas on the piece of paper right in front of you, then we can move forward with our first set of assumptions. So the assumption here is that MPC will be equal to 0.5, marginal propensity to consume is 0.5, and in this situation the government expenditure increases by 100 million. 100, let's say 100. You can write million later on. So the change in tax also has to be 100. That is the main assumption. Okay, so now plug this into the formula. What is the formula? Change in income, make it x, divided by change in look at the first bullet point. Change in income, make it x, that is what you'll have to calculate, divided by change in government expenditure, which will be 100, equals to 1 upon 1 minus 0.5. MPC is 0.5. So when you do all the calculation, I will not do it right now, I don't have the time. So when you do the calculation, you will get the answer 200. So your GDP, if the government expenditure rises by 100 and your MPC is 0.5, then your income, your national income, your GDP will go up by 200. All right. Now go to the second bullet point formula. So what did I say? I said that look, if the government increases expenditure by 100, okay, then it will also increase the tax by 100 in order to keep the budget in balance. Okay, so the second part of the multiplier will be the second bullet point. Change in income divided by change in tax. Government is also changing the tax. The tax also goes up by 100 million. Okay, the tax also goes up by the same amount, and the MPC is 0.5. Okay, now plug that information. Change in income again, the change in income will again be x. Tax goes up by 100. Okay, so what is your tax going to go up by? Your tax goes up by 100 only, because when you work that minus 0.5 divided by 1 minus 0.5, your answer is going to be the same, 100. Okay, so income, your GDP goes up by 200, tax is 100 minus the tax from the income. Okay, and what is the money which actually goes into the system? 100. So The bottom line is that when the government increases its expenditure by a certain amount, and we have the balanced budget multiplier in effect, and the balanced budget multiplier is there in the economy, then the economy will get a stimulus equal to the government expenditure. There will be no leakage, there will be nothing. It's going to be equal to the government increases the expenditure by 100, the exact stimulus will be 100. Why? Because the balanced budget multiplier is always equal to 1. So instead of going into this long calculation, what you can do is, if the government increases its expenditure by 100, just multiply it by 1, and you are going to get the actual injection that takes place in the economy in balanced budget situation. That is very important. This is the balanced budget situation. All right, and you can work out this balanced budget multiplier equal to 1 also. How can you do it? If you simply add 1 upon 1 minus MPC, which is the first bullet point, add it into the second bullet point, minus MPC divided by 1 minus uh, MPC. I know it sounds a little complicated, but if you do it on paper, then your answer is going to come back to 1. Okay, so just keep this thing in mind, that when the government puts in money in a balanced budget situation, then the stimulus in the economy will be equal to the amount of money that they have put in. Please do keep in mind that in the real world, MPCs are not the same. Please keep in mind that tax rates are not the same. Inflation is not the same, and inflation will drag you into different brackets, and the multipliers will not be the same. Okay, so in the real world, things are different, but for our calculation purposes, this is what we have done. Okay, and this is what you need to keep in mind. So just keep in mind that in a balanced budget multiplier, when the government puts a certain amount of money in the economy, that is also the level of the stimulus that the economy will get. Okay, I hope this is clear. Please read it from the book, and hopefully if you have any questions, just put them there. Thank you very much. Take care.